Welcome to Kris versus Everybody. This is a podcast where I talk about anything and everything unedited, uncensored. Listen to the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Thank you for your support. Today we're going to talk about a bill to fund TSA without ICE. Now, the Senate passed a bill just a few days ago to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which includes the TSA, but it excluded ICE and parts of border enforcement. This was mainly backed by the Democrats, who wanted the TSA workers to be paid because they weren't being paid because their funding ran out. And people were walking off the job. They're essential workers, but they were walking off the job, causing mass hysteria across the country at airports. The Democrats also wanted reforms and limits on ICE before giving them more money because Trump was like, yo, you don't have to be formally trained as a law enforcement officer to take illegal immigrants off the streets. But local police officers have to go through 6 to 9 months of training, which is pretty much like not enough time. But at least they get training before they go out on the streets and deal with people like you and me. These people are just joining ICE and knocking people upside the head, grabbing them at Home Depot and throwing them in the back of a car. And that's what I don't agree with. And that's what many Democrats didn't agree with. And that's why they were like, no, we're not funding this bill if ICE is on that bill. Because if you lived under a rock in the last few months, ICE has been just running rabbit over these cities. Unmarked vehicles, just grabbing people off the streets. Citizens. Now, I'm not saying that they're just grabbing random people. They're grabbing people that they're told to go get. But some of these people are law-abiding citizens. Like, yes, some of them might be illegal immigrants. But how do you know if they're illegal immigrants if you just are driving in an unmarked car, say, hey, who are you? That's not how this works. And that's why we didn't want ICE to be given more money when they've been given enough money as it is. All right. There was another bill to fund everything, including ICE. The House passed a bill for that. So it was for TSA, ICE, and Border Patrol. And it was backed by the Republicans, of course, who argued that you can't fund security agencies. Okay, I understand. You're trying to make us feel guilty for not paying for the protection of the country. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But there were also attempts to pass standalone TSA funding bills. These were often used to force the vote, put pressure on the other party, but many of these failed or were blocked because the bigger fight was about immigration policy and not the TSA staff. But I thought the immigration people were good. I thought we hired enough people and we're paying them. TSA, they were already at the airport. They've been there. You're saying that they ran out of money? But now you want to tie them together because they're quote unquote on the same team? Like, no. So why is TSA pay getting tied to ICE funding? This is the key. Democrats say that we'll fund TSA, but we want changes to ICE, which is pretty much like, if we're being honest, come on, guys. It's a fair argument. The Republicans say we won't fund TSA unless ICE is funded too, which is why you have a 4-hour line at the airport. You know what? I'm going to backtrack and take back what I just said. It's because of Congress, like I said at the beginning of the episode, which is both Democrats and Republicans, that these TSA workers are walking off on the job and ICE isn't getting paid and TSA ain't getting paid. In fact, one side literally accused the other of holding up TSA pay to force ICE funding negotiations. So, because Congress couldn't agree, both Democrats and Republicans, TSA workers missed paychecks during the shutdown. Hundreds quit. Airports starting seeing delays. Now, pause, period. Now I'm going to go after Donald Trump. The president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, had to step in and use emergency authority to pay TSA temporarily without Congress. The executive branch had to step in. Pause. Let's move on to another argument. The Congress that were holding on to Trump's coattails, who said that we're going to make this country great again, won't pay TSA because ICE wasn't in the bill. But we've seen what's going on across the country with ICE. So stop funding ICE and get these people who have been in the airports long before ICE got revamped a few months ago. Pay these people. Train the ICE troopers. I don't say officers. They're troopers. Train them. And then pay them. Make sure they're going after criminals and not just regular people who live here. The president of the United States had to step in because of the problem that his party started. It's crazy. It's real crazy. So the bottom line, yes, there were bills to pay both TSA and ICE. But the real issue wasn't whether to pay TSA. It was whether TSA got caught in the political battle over immigration and ICE funding. That's where we are right now. And until Congress agrees on both TSA and ICE, you're going to keep seeing stalled bills, shutdown threats, and workers stuck in the middle and long lines at the airport. Like, please, 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 Congress, agree on something to get these people back to work and make this country great again, because I'm tired. It's only March of 2026. We got 2 more years of this. I'm done. See y'all next time on Kris versus everybody.